The Obsidian Gauntlet. In the quiet, tree-lined streets of Beacon Hill, Boston, where the shadows of historic brownstones stretched long across brick sidewalks, a chilling scene unfolded under the twilight sky. Elaine Washington, a 62-year-old federal prosecutor, felt the cold press of a pistol barrel against her temple. Blood trickled slowly down her face, marking the moment her life hung by a thread. Officer Mark Keller, a sneer twisting his lips, spat words laced with venom. Federal prosecutor in this neighborhood. Huh. Just as the tension reached its breaking point, a firm voice cut through the air like a lightning bolt. Officer Keller, care to explain the evidence you destroyed last Tuesday? It was William Washington, Elaine's husband, emerging from the deepening shadows with a revelation that sent a tremor through the officer. This is the story of a couple who confronted a corrupt system, defied institutional racism, and fought for justice against all odds. Prepare for a tale of courage, betrayal, and redemption that will keep you on the edge of your seat, the Iron Lady of Justice. Elaine Washington was not a woman easily intimidated. Her salt and pepper hair, always meticulously pulled back in an elegant bun, had been a familiar sight in Boston's federal courthouses for 35 years. As one of the few black federal prosecutors in the city, she had shattered barriers, her office a testament to her unwavering dedication. Photos with 3 U.S. presidents, certificates from the Department of Justice, and heartfelt letters from grateful families adorned her walls. It's home in Beacon Hill, an elite neighborhood where she and William were among the first black families to settle. They faced the constant, subtle sting of racism. Neighbors who crossed the street to avoid them or clutched their purses tighter in the elevator. Yet, Elaine and William, a former FBI agent now running a private security consultancy, refused to be displaced from a space they had earned through decades of service. That morning, sunbeams illuminated Elaine's mahogany desk as she reviewed files for an explosive case, an investigation into corruption within the Boston Police Department's specialized units. For 6 months, she had meticulously gathered evidence of manipulated evidence, witness intimidation, and civil rights violations against Black and Latino citizens. The pattern was clear and alarming, protected by an impenetrable code of silence. William, leaning against the doorframe with a coffee mug in hand, voiced his concern. "I should drive you to work today. This is escalating." Just the week before, Elaine's tires had been slashed in the courthouse parking lot, and security cameras had conveniently malfunctioned. She, with the calm of a seasoned veteran, responded, "I've faced intimidation tactics my entire career, William. You know how this works." A text message interrupted their conversation. It was Jackson Pierce, a young assistant prosecutor whom Elaine considered almost a son. "Need to talk to you urgently. Breakfast at Dylan's in 20 minutes. Elaine confirmed, preparing to leave, dismissing William's warnings but accepting a small panic device linked to her phone and trusted police contacts. At the cafe, Jackson was visibly tense. "They know about the grand jury. Someone leaked the witness list." He blurted out, Rodriguez, Elaine's key witness, a former evidence clerk who had documented manipulations, had received an intimidating visit from 2 officers the previous night. Elaine scanned the reports Jackson handed her, each confirming a pattern of veiled yet clear threats. One name stood out: Officer Mark Keller, repeatedly linked to cases where evidence mysteriously vanished. The day unfolded with Elaine meticulously preparing her grand jury presentation, organizing proof of a corruption network that went far beyond a few rogue officers. But as night fell, a confidential envelope arrived at her office, containing a USB drive and an anonymous note. Evidence tampering in the Baker case. Keller involved. The Baker case, the death of an unarmed black teenager at the hands of the police, had been dismissed due to manipulated evidence. Elaine called William immediately. "I'm bringing something you have to see." Images of the evidence room. Following security protocols, she avoided driving directly home, stopping a shopping center to throw off any potential tales. The footage confirmed her worst suspicions. Keller, manipulating evidence for hours without fear of cameras, suggesting protection from higher levels. They spent the night analyzing the evidence, connecting the dots of a network of corrupt officers protecting their misdeeds while targeting those who dared to challenge them. But at dawn, a judicial emergency forced Elaine to go to court alone, promising to be vigilant. As she drove, she noticed a patrol car tailing her, the same one she had seen the previous night. Instead of intimidating her, it strengthened her resolve. 3 decades fighting for justice had taught her that opposition intensified when you were closest to the truth. Confrontation in the streets that afternoon. After a victory in court that allowed key evidence to be admitted, Elaine was heading home when blue lights flashed in her rearview mirror. She pulled her Mercedes over beside a row of immaculate townhouses, knowing she had committed no infraction. The approaching officer was Mark Keller, the very man whose name echoed through her investigation. His hand rested on his weapon, an aggressive stance for a simple traffic stop. "License and registration," he demanded with disdain. Elaine, maintaining the composure every professional black woman learns as armor, calmly asked, "Why have I been pulled over, Officer Keller?" Her use of his name momentarily unsettled him, and his reply was a blatant lie. "You ran a stop sign." Elaine knew there were no stop signs on that street. The situation escalated rapidly. Keller, recognizing her identity as a federal prosecutor, became more hostile. "What's someone like you doing in this neighborhood?" he snarled, the racism implicit in every word. When Elaine refused to exit the vehicle without justification, Keller drew his weapon, pointing it directly at her. Neighbors, now recording on their phones, watched as he pressed her against the car, the barrel at her temple, blood dripping down her face. "You think your title protects you?" he whispered. But then William appeared, his voice resonating with authority. "Officer Keller, care to explain the evidence you destroyed last Tuesday?" The impact was immediate. Keller blanched, his hand trembling on his weapon. William, with the precision of a former FBI agent, revealed specific details, footage of you entering the evidence room with Captain Sullivan's access code, manipulating evidence from the Baker case. The growing crowd recorded every word. Keller tried to deflect, but the arrival of Captain Sullivan marked a turning point. Elaine, bloodied but unyielding, announced a civil rights investigation. Sullivan, with a facade of concern, tried to minimize the incident, but William insisted, "The public nature of this is now your greatest protection." In the weeks that followed, the battle intensified. Elaine and William discovered that the corruption, known as the Brotherhood, encompassed 37 officers, including high-ranking officials like Sullivan. Their every move was monitored, their communications compromised. An illegal raid on their home, led by Sullivan, included the planting of fake drugs to discredit Elaine. But William's hidden cameras captured everything, turning the intimidation attempt into damning evidence against the corrupt. The most painful betrayal came with the discovery that Douglas Freeman, William's former FBI partner, was the mole leaking information to the Brotherhood. Freeman, once considered family, had sold every detail of their investigation. As allies fell, witnesses intimidated, colleagues attacked, even a supposed suicide of Commissioner Martinez, Elaine and William found themselves cornered. But in their darkest hour, they found unexpected support. A secret operation, led by Internal Affairs Chief Diana Watson and Prosecutor Cameron Wright, whose apparent death had been a decoy to expose Freeman, had been meticulously documenting the Brotherhood's every corrupt move. With the Brotherhood believing they had won, Watson and her team amassed irrefutable evidence. As Sullivan personally oversaw what he believed would be the final elimination of the Washingtons, coordinated raids began at dawn. In a bold move, Elaine led the team that arrested Sullivan, cuffing him in his own Beacon Hill home. The man who had orchestrated a campaign of terror against her now faced charges for civil rights violations, conspiracy, and murder. The case, the largest police corruption scandal in decades, dismantled the Brotherhood. Elaine was reinstated and appointed to lead a new civil rights division. William created a training program for ethical policing, and allies like Officer Reynolds and journalist Victoria Chin became symbols of change. Structural reforms, including civilian oversight boards, ensured that justice endured beyond the convictions. A.S. Elaine and William closed the file on this monumental case. A young black officer knocked on their door. "You made it possible for me to serve with integrity," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. "Your story isn't just about defeating the Brotherhood. It's about transforming a broken system to serve everyone equally." What moment in this story resonated most with you? Elaine's bravery facing Keller's gun, William's cunning in exposing the corruption, or the final arrest of Sullivan? Let me know in the comments below and share what inspired you. If you believe truth can overcome even the most corrupt systems, like and share this video with someone who needs to remember that justice, though difficult, is possible. Subscribe to continue being part of this fight for a world where truth and equity prevail. Together, we can change the future one story at a time.